We always start with that, don't we? Hello. Hello.
We always start with welcome on the podcast, as we discussed last week.
So this is Behind the Sofa.
Yeah.
I'm D Cool.
And I'm Lewis Moon.
So what do we have on this Behind the Sofa? What are we coming out from Behind the Sofa for this time?
This time we are coming out of the sofa to review the episode, which I won't tell you what Doctor it is because we'll go on to that later. But we are going to review Image of the Fendahl, which we were meant to be reviewing last week.
Okay. And then what else do we have on this show?
We have two other things. We have one, the Tom Baker figure home, and number two, we have an amazing episode guide to which episode we think you should start at for Doctor Who.
And we'll explain that a bit more later.
We will.
So first off, let's pick up then with the
Image
of the Fendahl. So this was selected using our Excel randomizer, which anyone that's seen this vidcast before or listens to our podcast would know that it's a big spreadsheet full of every episode ever of Doctor Who, and when we press the button it tells us what we must watch that
all
week.
813 of them, all 33 series, and then we'll release series 8 on there when it comes to December.
Excellent. I'm just going to do something with the camera a second. So it's going to I'm going to turn that like that. There.
Okay.
That's better, isn't it? You can see, you can see our knees too much now. Let's just move it like so.
Yeah.
That's better. See,
there.
beforehand you had like this big sort of space.
Yeah.
Which we are talking about space, so I guess that's okay.
Yeah, it kind of is quite annoying because you have loads of space.
I guess it gives us the opportunity to put things there, like this picture we've got here now. Yeah. So, should we kick off then?
It banged my head.
Should we kick off with Image of the Fendahl?
Yeah.
Are you going to give a bit of a roundup of the story?
Yes. Okay. So hopefully it won't be too brief, but the TARDIS is drawn to fetch Priory, where using a time scanner, Professor Fendahl experiments on a human skull, estimated to be an impossible 12 million years old.
So that's quite intriguing, isn't it? I don't know about you, but that actually really entices me in to the episode.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's sort of immediately, it's got that sort of that horror theme.
It does.
So should we kick off with the normal standard questions then?
Yes.
So what's the first one? So story roundup you've given. So which series does it belong to?
It belongs to series number 15.
So if it's series number 15, which Doctor does that place us with?
That means it's another Tom Baker one. Only one of our stories so far, I think, has not been Tom Baker.
Yeah, and that's because I've rigged it because I like the Tom Baker ones best.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't really actually. It's just perchance that happens to be the case. But yes, it's another Tom Baker one. Who was the companion?
It was Leela. First Leela one on the randomizer.
Yes, Leela, my love.
Why do you like Leela?
I like Leela because I like the costume she's wearing because it's all sort of rough and ready and ripped up and.
You love her though.
It's like sort of barbarian.
You actually could kiss her. I mean you. not me, but you could kiss her.
She's my favourite Who companion ever. So there we have it. I don't know. She wasn't in it for that long, was she? How many was she? About a series and a half. Snap out of it, boy. Snap
She's a
out
good
of it.
companion, but I don't think she should be the top. Now, if you want to know more about our companion thing, you have to stay tuned to the podcast, because in a few weeks we're planning on ordering all of the companions from top to bottom.
So that's going to be entertaining.
Hopefully you didn't see the mouse.
No, nobody would see that.
Good.
That's the computer mouse. We don't have a mouse in the house. Although we have had a mouse in the house before. But, yes.
And a giant rat from Talons of Wayne Chan.
Yeah. So, there we have it. Story.
We've done that.
We've done that. Format.
What do you think of the storyline, by the way?
Storyline. I think it's the actual storyline, or do you mean the summary?
The storyline or the summary?
The story, full stop. I think it's another one of those ones from the Tom Baker era, which has got a sort of semi-horror sort of theme to it, which would seem to be quite common, didn't it, around that time?
It isn't actually the Philip Pinchcliffe, is it?
No, I don't think it is it? But it does sort of like fit that same. I think these first few series of Tom Baker's actually did have that sort of horror feel to it, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know.
Because we did discuss that last week on episode 116 of the podcast, which was the Gothic Who it was called.
And I think although this episode falls just outside of that period of time, it still keeps that sort of dark edge.
Only by a few episodes. It's in the same year, I think, as some of the Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes stories.
Let's face it, it's got skulls in it, hasn't it? It's
Yeah.
got skeletons, it's got creatures, it's got things with weird eyes.
Fendahls.
Yeah. So,
things.
What's the format for this one?
It's a four-parter.
Four-parter. As a lot of them were from that sort of period of time, I think.
Yes, and I think almost it's the time when it's the last six-parter.
Do you know, because I grew up, even though I look really young, obviously, I grew up with the Tom Baker period. And one of the things I remember is four-parter episodes. It's something I would sort of think of with who is four-parters. So, what's the next question we want to ask ourselves? We're on to the biggies, really, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're on to the biggies. A little bit about the best bits of image of the Fendahl.
Yes.
So first up, best baddie.
Now, we have two best baddies. First of all, we have the evil angel version of Thea.
So what's that all about?
Well, this is a spoiler, but Thea, who we'll go on to later, has spotted Dr. Fendelman's skull, and she is linked to it in some way. And then one time she falls in the trap of it, and she becomes like a angel thing, and she's like lying down, like, I can't show you this. It's hard, isn't it?
I think
I can't.
And that's the point, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe we can, when we do fancy bits after, when we edit and we show a few pictures to give you an idea of the sort of things we're talking about. Hopefully, we can find a picture of the eyes, because the eyes are great.
I know.
If not, can we try and do an impression? Yeah, I hurt. Won't do that for too long. Oh. You said there were two baddies that we particularly liked. What's the other one?
The Fendahl.
So, tell us a bit about the Fendahl.
It's the main monster. What it does is when you are standing there it makes you not move, and then it eats you.
So that was the one that was like a big maggoty sort of thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
It's actually named in the title.
Yeah. The image. Yes. Yeah, I think it's if you look at the Fendahl, it's, as with a lot of things from this period of time, it's dated a little bit, hasn't it, in terms of its look, because it looks like a big rubber sort of like sock puppet.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, but it's good, isn't it? And actually, overall, I think the effects are quite good in this episode. I think all the stuff based around the skull is really good. So if those are the best baddies, what's the best part?
Now, the best part. Would you say part 4? Is it part 4?
Which is the part with the eyes and everything?
Part 4.
Yeah, I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think actually it's one of the ones where it's quite. I won't go into my ratings yet for where it sits, but it's quite consistent in all of its parts. It's not one like sometimes we watch it. Let's say, for example, let's think of a good example here. The one we watched today, the moon base, which we'll come back to on here in a few weeks' time. The moon base is very, very slow to start with, isn't it? Whereas this one actually isn't. I think it kicks up really quickly, doesn't it? You've got like the intro sequence and everything with the first person getting bumped off. It's difficult to say a best part. I think we'll go for the best part as being part 4, just because that's the conclusion. Yeah. But it's quite often not our favourite part, isn't it? The last one.
No, it isn't.
But this time, it is.
It is.
So, best part we had, best supporting cast.
Now,
Leela. Leela. I said I was going to say that, and you said I wasn't allowed to, because you said she's the companion. She can't be the best supporting cast.
Yeah, it's supportive. It's not the actual main cast. So we said Thea again.
Yeah, but we were thinking there more so the human side of Thea, weren't we? Rather than the monstrous taken over side of Thea.
Even though we love the monstrous side of Thea more.
I don't know. If you gave the normal Thea big funny eyes, I'd like it equally as much.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too.
But not as much as if you gave Leela those big eyes.
Oh, I say.
Do you think what do you think's the best bit in the whole story?
Well, we've gone over this, but it's the bit when Thea turns into the angel thing.
So hopefully we've got another picture of it going on around us now. But yeah, that in fact, going back to the best bit again, or the best part again, it is that last part, because it is. It's all the bit with the Pentagon and stuff like that, isn't it? That's
the Pentagon. Yeah. That's what I was trying to explain with this thing.
Oh, right. But you didn't have enough arms and legs to make a pentagon.
No. I could have used my head, but I couldn't fit all of the hands and legs in the picture.
The human pentagon. So I think that probably was. And I'd agree that probably was the best bit. Where does it all fit in then? So perhaps we should have covered this when we were talking about Series 15, but in the great scheme of things, where does this fit into the Doctor Who story?
What do you mean?
What was the before and afters?
You mean like...
What episode preceded it?
Before was The Invisible Enemy.
I've put you on the spot here, haven't I? You've not had a chance to look it up.
Before was The Invisible Enemy, and after was The Sunmakers, I think.
Okay. Invisible Enemy? Are we watching that at some point?
Yeah. Sunmakers we haven't yet watched.
No.
But who knows, it might come up on the randomizer.
It may come up in the randomizer.
Well, it will sometime, but
yeah, maybe
not soon, maybe.
So in terms of general thoughts then about Image of the Fendahl, what would you like to share with the viewers?
This is a new bit, isn't it? I'd like to say that I would thoroughly recommend the story. I thought it had a wide range of villains and characters, and yeah, it was quite a good, decent story. But I wouldn't say it was the best ever, but only one story can be the best ever story.
What do you think in terms of Tom Baker episodes? Is it one of the better Tom Baker ones, do you think?
Not necessarily.
It is probably the strongest era of him, I would say, the Tom Baker era.
Yeah.
Possibly tails off a little bit towards the end. I can't really remember that well. So. But certainly I think the Sarah Jane and Leela period of Tom Baker is really consistent, isn't it? In fact, probably some of the best classic Who episodes ever come from that period.
Genesis and Ark in Space, and Seeds of Doom and Terror of the Zygons,
Talons of Wang
Chiang, Brain of Morbius, Pyramids of Mars.
Yeah, so they just reel off, don't they?
Invasion of Time, anyway.
Great episode after great episode after great episode. So I think it's got a lot to stand up for. And it is a really good episode, Image of the Fendahl.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't say it's better than the majority of those episodes that you've just reeled off. So if you were recommending a Tom Baker episode to somebody, it probably wouldn't be this one, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
But we'll come on to that because that sort of links a little bit with our section later on. So we're getting ahead of ourselves somewhat. But so Image of the Fendahl, solid. That's what I'd say. It's a really solid Doctor Who episode. Really good story.
What would you rate it out of 10?
Out of 10, I would probably give it about, on the harsh side, probably about 7.
Okay, yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
High 7.
So.
High 7.
High 5. So, thinking about 5s, this is the 5th episode. So, looking at our chart, we've got a top 5.
Yes, and in the dorm rating, it was 122nd. Do we agree with that? Should we flash up that?
Well, let's have a look at where we've labelled it so far. So this is our table. Whereabouts is it? About just dead central. If I duck down a little bit like that. There we are. So that's our table. So that's showing of the 5 that we've watched so far on this programme, how we rank them. And as you'll see, even though we've been saying very positive things about it, it's towards the bottom of the top 5.
Yes, it's not in the top half.
No.
For either of us.
Which I guess if you look at the dorm rating, the Doctor Who magazine.
Yes.
Not monthly.
No.
It probably indicate the same, wouldn't it? So how many episodes have we had in total of Who?
241 stories there, but there's been series 8 since, so it might be a bit lower or higher.
Yeah, so it's probably just about the second half, and probably I think we'll find the same, because as soon as you start throwing in all the 80s episodes and we get forced to watch those, you're watching. What are you watching at the moment?
Paradise Towers. The other day I watched Time the Rani. Paradise Towers is even more terrible. There's like red kangs and like cleaners and caretakers and people who eat you. It's weird.
Yeah, doesn't do a lot, does it? And it's
such a bad episode, and that shows the first series of Sylvester McCoy is quite bad, but it does get better, excluding Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
So, just wait till we get to rip into one of those on this show one day. We'll be going back behind the sofa so that we don't have to watch it.
It'll probably be like 1 out of 10.
That's it. Rather than being behind the sofa because it's scary, it'd be behind the sofa because we've fallen asleep.
Usually I give things good ratings.
But you probably struggle with that.
Yeah.
So do we have anything else to say about Image of the Fendahl? Any sort of closing comments? Wrap up?
No, I don't think so.
Well, in that case, as it is a Tom Baker, or as it was a Tom Baker episode, that can only mean one thing.
Let's say it together. The Tom Baker Figure Home. 1 VT.
Ah, a nice relaxing day, where I can put my feet up and continue my Doctor Who marathon. Oh, let's see. Let's get out Image of the Fendahl, perhaps. Can we please use up this room? You see, today is Sir Jonathan Feather's birthday, and we need this room for a party. He isn't royalty. Can it wait? I don't see anything important going on here anyway. All you are doing is watching your Doctor Who episodes. You're selfish. You're not watching yourself. Oh, I do admit it. I do. Listen, I promise you can use this room up tomorrow. I don't think I'm doing anything then. Just let me watch this. Of course. Thanks for the promise. Ah, a nice relaxing day. I don't think I'm doing anything. I can stretch my legs and continue my Doctor Who marathon with the Sunmakers. You promised me that today we could use this room up for Jonathan Turner's birthday! That day you lied to us! Oh, sorry. I have an important matter to attend to. I am watching this episode because it is really addictive. Really? The Sunmakers, an addictive episode? Oh, you think that is a selfish matter again? Well, you can shove this birthday party up your bare backside. Okay. I will have to give you a deal. Oh, what now? If you let us have this party here tomorrow, then you will be invited. If you just wait here, where the party will begin. Oh, that is so kind. Have a jelly baby for the generosity. I am so looking forward to this party. I have a lot of jelly babies as some of the party food. Sorry, but we are not doing this anymore. What do you mean? Do you mean that I will not be able to go to the party and it was all a trick? You will be locked up in this room forever. I know it was you, John Nathan Turner!
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that.
Yes, I hope you did too. So, now we're going to move on to our next section, which is which episodes we would recommend a new viewer to start on.
So, if you imagine that your mind has been wiped, or you've stumbled across this video accidentally and you're still watching it even though you have no interest in Doctor Who, which is probably quite unlikely, unless you like the look of us, which is quite likely because we're lovely.
Hello.
So, that may have happened, who knows. So, what would we recommend to a new viewer that has never watched Doctor Who before, to try and entice them in to love it as much as we do?
Yes. Now, what I'm going to rate it by is I'm going to give you two. Okay. I'm going to give the most important one to watch, and the one which I think, a person who doesn't like the look of the show, how do I get them into the show? Are you going to rate it like that? Okay,
I will. I think we should recommend a new and an old one.
Yes.
A new Who and classic Who.
And that's what I'm going to do with both of these.
Okay. Okay. Well, there we have it then. So let's kick off then. Who's going to go first?
Should I go first?
You go first.
So first up, I'm going to go for an important one and a good one as well. And this is Genesis of the Daleks.
Okay, why would you choose that one?
Because it showed you that the Daleks, how the Daleks were created. It showed you, it introduced Davros to you. It was a great story. It had Tom Baker in it. It told you about the Thal and the Khaled War, which may be quite important for Series 9, from my theory.
Do you think it would matter I'm just going to be a sort of playing devil's advocate here. Do you think it matters that you'd be watching an episode that explains the creation of the Daleks before you'd ever seen anything with the Daleks in?
That's a hard question, actually. If you've heard of the Daleks and you know what the Daleks are and can do, it would be good. But if you didn't, it wouldn't be... no. Wouldn't be the same.
I guess most people, assuming... And apart from... Unless they have had their mind wiped, or they've been living underground for 50-odd years, most people would have heard of what Daleks are, so it's probably not... It probably isn't really a relevant question. And do you know, I think probably I would agree with you on this episode as well. Okay. I think it's probably the classic Who episode that I would recommend for people to watch, because it has got the strongest Doctor in it. It's got the Daleks in it. It's got Davros. It's got a really strong story. I think I'm agreed.
Now, of course, a good episode to start on is An Unearthly Child, but we're excluding An Unearthly Child and Rose because that would be too easy.
Okay.
So should I do the one which I think would be good to entice a viewer into the show?
Yes.
From New Who I'm going to go with.
You're going to go for New Who.
So, the thing is, what I was thinking about the other day is if someone never has watched the show before, I think a good episode, for some reason, to start on is Mummy on the Orient Express.
Do you know, the funny thing about this is, because what sparked off this debate was we were watching Emergency Awesome.
Yeah.
And they had this discussion on there, or just raised it as a question. And we thought that'd be a good thing to debate later ourselves on this podcast, vidcast, whatever cast. And you left a comment on there, didn't you?
Mm.
And do you know, the funny thing is that episode, Mummy on the Orient Express, was there in my head as well. As one of the ones that... And that's why I said to you, were you going to put a new one or a classic one? Because New Who, I probably would have said that.
Because I think that would... I just think with the monster and everything, if there's a younger person, I think that would work quite well.
I think the other thing with that episode is if you were trying to get them... Not necessarily introduce them into Who, but introduce them into Who ahead of the next series.
Yeah.
It'd be good to go for one which had Peter Capaldi in.
Yeah.
Because actually, the whole regeneration thing isn't that essential. It's a means to keeping the show alive.
Now, Darkwater Death in Heaven, as well, would be a good one to watch if after that, before you watch series 9, because you'd think, who is that woman?
Yeah.
Like we did at series 9, series 8, but we don't have... They don't have the same shock factor as us because they've never seen it and they don't know who the hell the master is.
That is true. Do you know what I was also thinking though when thinking of New Who? I thought a really good one to introduce somebody would be The Empty Child.
Yeah.
Now a reason for that was the fact that it's within the first series of New Who, but also because I think it's the first of the new series that brings that fear factor back.
And also it's Stephen Moffat's first one. Yeah,
that is true. And I think probably the 2 points there are quite linked because a lot of the scary episodes seem to be Moffat written, don't they? So I think it is quite creepy, isn't it, that one, with the whole, "Are you my mummy?" stuff. Is actually quite unnerving. So I think...
The bit when he dances isn't unnerving.
You hate that bit, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that bit.
But well, you could edit that bit out, couldn't you? Or when the person's watching it, just quickly jump on them and then by the time you finish having a pretend scrap, that bit would have finished. Yeah. Anything else to contribute to this?
I don't think so.
I enjoyed that little debate, you know.
I did too.
Mm.
Little debate.
So, what do we have on next week's or next times? I say, 'cause
So-
it's probably not next week.
Next time, we usually do this like every fortnight or something.
Yeah.
But it depends when we release this. But
Yes.
the next week, I think we are having Planet of the Ood review.
Ooh, so another new Who one.
Mm.
Ah. Oh no, it's got Donna in it.
The first and the so
not
far
Leela.
last with Dom.
Yes. So yeah, so join us next time for our Planet of the Ood discussion, and we'll probably have other stuff going on as well. We haven't worked out what that's going to be
We
yet.
probably won't have a Tom Baker figure home because it's not a Tom Baker episode. We'll either have a discussion or a merchandise review.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll have the Donna figure home.
Or a game.
Yeah. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be worth watching. Give it a go.
Give it a go. If you've enjoyed this episode, comment below. If you've got any opinions on the image of the Fendahl or which episode you think will be good to start on, and if we are back next time, we may even have something different than Planet of the Ood, or both.
Who knows?
We may be giving something away.
You never know.
Yeah.
So, we'll look forward to seeing you. We're going to now jump in the spaceship and fly off back to our home planet of Zillablab.
Yes.
See you later.
Let's go to Wizibblablab. Bye! Let's go! Go! Go!
Thank you.